And we are live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Level Up Live. I am Dr. Sharita Gaskins Tillett. I am your host, and this is the show where we showcase the amazing accomplishments of women physicians, both inside and outside of the exam room. I am super excited about tonight's guest. But before I introduce her, I just want to remind you guys to please say hi in the comments, put your questions in the comments. If you are watching the replay, hashtag replay, and still put your questions in the comments because I will be happy to pass them along to our guests. Also, just a reminder that registration is still open for a weekend for me. I've extended it for a few days, but guys, it really truly is shutting down this weekend. So if you're on the fence, if you're kind of sort of thinking about it, register today. You do not want to miss this. It's going to be amazing. It's at the Hyatt Grand Resort in Puerto Rico, and November 2nd through 5th. I can't wait to see you there. www.aweekendforme.com. So let's see. Let's talk about our guest this evening. So we have joining us tonight Dr. Joyelle Ballard. Dr. Joyelle is the Menopause Mogul. She's a board certified OBGYN and business coach for Black women 40 and over. Through her Menopause Moguls online coaching program, she empowers women to reclaim their power and joy during their menopausal transition so they can launch their own business with more energy, clarity, and focus to create a life on their own terms. She is a NAMS Certified Menopause Practitioner and best-selling author of Loving Me, Myself, and Her through Perimenopause and Beyond. She is the host of the Menopause Moguls Podcast. Dr. Ballard has been a contributing writer for the Business Men and Women of Color magazine, and she was featured in the Vision and Purpose magazine and His Favor magazine. She was featured on Our Voices TV show, A Voice of America, Dana Being Dana TV show, and WHUR 96.3 radio for Medical Monday and Women's Wednesday. She received her Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Syracuse University. She obtained her medical degree from the State University of New York at Buffalo. Her residency training in obstetrics and gynecology was completed at Sinai Hospital in Baltimore, where she was appointed the administrative chief resident and subsequently received the attending award. She is certified by the American Board of Obstetrics and Gynecology and a member of the Menopause Society, formerly known as the North American Menopause Society, in addition to being a NAMS Certified Menopause Practitioner. After finishing her training, she was in private practice for 13 years, and now, as the founder of Menopause Moguls, she shares her expertise through coaching and speaking on multiple platforms in the community that provide a space for women to become invigorated while facing different aspects of their health, especially during perimenopause and menopause. She enthusiastically encourages women to adopt simple integrative strategies to transform their mindset for healthy aging and healthy living from the inside out as they encounter different stages of womanhood. She is married and enjoys traveling and spending time with her family. Welcome, Dr. Joyelle.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharita, for inviting me on to Level Up, Lady Doc. I'm excited about this conversation.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait, because us women of a certain age, right? So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey through medicine first? Did you always know you wanted to be a physician? How did you come to choose OBGYN? Give us the tea on that.
Okay, where do I start? So let me start by saying, no, I did not always want to be a doctor, actually. When I was little, I had lots of ideas of what I wanted to be. A lot of it was actually on a stage somewhere, which is kind of
Uh,
funny. But I talked myself out of it. I'm like, girl, no, you can't really sing or can't really dance. So let's do something else. Let's do something easy like medical school.
right.
Right. Like, okay. So yeah, I actually went initially to college thinking I wanted to be a psychologist and particularly child psychology because I'm the oldest of 8. I love children. So I was like, okay, I can, work with children. And I did my child psychology class in college, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. It's not for me. And then I decided to volunteer in a pediatric for the hospital close by to my college, and I loved it. Was like, oh my gosh, this medicine thing seems really cool. I'll become a pediatrician because again, I love kids,
Yeah.
right? So, basically I stuck with my major of psychology, but then I went on the medical school track. And I actually didn't get into medical school the first time I applied or the second time. Ended up actually working for a year and applied again and didn't get in. And I was actually also at the same time applying to go get a master's in public health. And I got accepted to that program in Emory. And I'm like, all right, this is what I'll do, public health. And I got a phone call. It was like, we put you on the waiting list, not waiting list, the actual list for post-bac at University of Buffalo. So if you do well in the post-bac program, you can actually be accepted to the next year of medical school. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, I'll take it. I had all these I was working actually in the doctor's office at the time. I had all these listings of apartments in Atlanta so I can move down there, and then I just threw all of them in the trash. I'm like, all right, I'm going to Buffalo. So did the post-bac program, did well, and got into medical school, the next year. And like I said, I originally wanted to do pediatrics, and after going through the first 2 years and then to the rotations in third year, I was like, pediatrics is not my thing. I don't think this is it, right?
Yes.
And mind you, I said things like, oh, I'll never do OBGYN because I ain't trying to look at people's vaginas all day. And I would never do such and such, like all these things, right?
They say never, right?
Exactly. So I did my general surgery rotation. I'm like, oh, I like this surgery thing. This is cool. But then I was like, well, we did do the surgery. We don't see him again. So I didn't really like that aspect of it. So here I come in OBGYN. I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and do this rotation and get it over with. And I delivered my first baby, and I'm like, oh, dang, this is it.
Fell in love. You're in love, right?
This is it. I'm like, all right, God, okay, I guess this is where I'm going to be. I'm looking at vaginas all day.
Yeah, so all the things, right? All the things. That's the one you had to love. Right?
Exactly. But I love the aspect of being able to, of course, bring this life into the world, but also, work with women throughout their different stages of their life, pregnancy and then after pregnancy and, and beyond. So I love that aspect of OBGYN. So that is how I went on the track of OBGYN and did my residency training in Baltimore, and then ended up in a private group practice in Annapolis for 12 plus years, and stayed there for, it was my family, right? I went straight there after residency, and then, things changed.
Okay. All right. So what were the things? What did things change? What were the things?
Yeah. One thing was, there was a lot of things, right? I started to the first thing that started was I started to get this feeling of, okay, there has to be something more. There's something more that I should be doing. And then God told me, like, okay, I want you to start your own brand outside of this practice. I want you to start a business. And I'm like, what? Like, I got 3 kids. I'm in this very busy practice.
Yeah.
Who got time for that? Like, I don't have time. I'm sorry, God. I can't right now.
Okay. We'll see how that works out for you. But anyway, keep going.
Right, exactly. So that was like in the back of my mind, right? So then I, at the tender age of 39, I started to have these, I woke up soaking wet, I was like, what is this? Like, one of the kids come in, pee in the bed. Like, why am I soaking wet? Then I'm like, okay, maybe not. My birthday's in July, so maybe I just got overheated. But it kept happening over and over and over again. And I'm like, oh, okay, this might be what I think it is, but we're going to pretend it's not and move on with our life, right?
I'm far too young for this.
I'm far too young. I was like, I'm 39. Like, what? And then actually I got pregnant. So those of you who don't think you can get pregnant in perimenopause, you can. I got pregnant. Unfortunately, that ended in a miscarriage, in the first trimester miscarriage. And then a few months later, I got pregnant again. So, so actually, this was actually my third child. I had my son, and pregnancy went well. I breastfed him for like 6, 7 months, and then after I stopped breastfeeding, the night sweats came back with a vengeance.
Mm.
Mood swings, like all the things. Like it was cray cray. I was cray cray. I was literally a hot mess, and I'm like, "Ah, I can't like I don't even recognize myself. Like it was just so much that was going on. But I doing what I do, pretended that I was fine. I went to work
Yeah.
every day, walked in the office in my cute shoes, like, hey, with a smile on my face. On the outside, I look totally fine. And it's like, Dr. Ballard, you always look so well put together. And I'm like, inside, I'm
If
like,
only you knew, right?
exactly. I'm like, they do not know I'm literally a hot mess. But I got to a point where I just became so exhausted, and I was driving to pick up the kids. Actually, after a long day in the office, pick the kids up from daycare and school, and I can hardly keep my eyes open. I was dozing off at the wheel,
Oh wow.
and I was like,
So were you not?
okay.
Were you not sleeping at night? Or
Um, it was a combination of things: not sleeping, night sweats, irritability, stress. Like it's just a whole bunch of things going on, right? But things that I didn't really like. Okay, I don't really have time to address that because I'm busy. I'm busy, right?
Mhm.
So I remember just clenching the wheel and praying to God to get me home safely. Because then, the kids in the back, they're just eating snacks and
Yeah,
watching
they don't
videos.
know, right?
They have no idea that mommy is struggling to get us home. Trying to turn the radio. I mean, trying to turn the radio up, trying to sip on some water, trying to open the windows, like all the things to try to keep me awake. Thankfully, I made it home. But it was that point, it was that week that I was like, okay, this is not sustainable. Like I need to do something. And at that point, I decided to choose me and prioritize myself. And because I was so used to taking care of everybody else, my kids, the husband, my family, my patients, like all the things, and
Right.
not really address, what I needed and what I wanted. Um, so once I did that, I basically minimized my symptoms to almost nothing and really just felt so much better in my skin.
So wait a
And
minute. Hold on, hold on. So what do you
yes,
mean minimize your symptoms to almost nothing? So no drugs, no nothing, just kind of peace and self-care.
yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's exact. I really say like self care truly saved my life. Like
Yeah.
really, like it really saved my life. So yeah, so that's what I did, and at the same time, I remember seeing patients um saying that going through these changes with menopause and perimenopause, and like, what is this? Like, I don't know what this is, and is there a book that I can read? And I'm like, all the books that were out there, it was like all white women. Like, where are the
Hmm.
black women at, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of inspired me to like, okay, I can share my journey. Also just provide a guide for women to read as they're going through these changes, and put a black face on it so they can know, like, yeah, black women going through these things too actually
Right.
can be much worse than white women, right? So that kind of started the whole transition into business. But that was gonna be my business, the book. Like, this is the book, this is my
Yeah.
business, and this is where I'm gonna stop. But it didn't stop there.
Okay. Because we have
um,
menopause moguls, so we know it didn't
right,
stop there. Right.
right, exactly. But so then the pandemic happened, and I actually decided to take a year off to homeschool my 3 kids, which was also crazy to me because I'm like, girl, you ain't no teacher. Like, what are you doing?
God bless you. I barely made it through.
I'm like, what are we doing? Like, it's truly like homeschool, like no, like, online school. That actually, I've got an actual curriculum in homeschool
Right.
my 3 kids, which was the best year of my life, to be honest, like with the kids. Like they, and I was scared, like, oh my God, are they gonna learn something? Are they gonna pass to the next grade? Like all the things.
Yeah.
But I was able to, we were all able to get through. And there was also kind of, with my practice, but they were okay with me taking the time off, but hospital administration was like, well, we want you to come back like in 6 months. I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. Like, I'm not going to stop homeschooling in the middle of the school year.
Right. Sure.
So I decided to, okay, this is my chance. And God was like, yeah, you can go start like do the real business now. Right. So that's when I decided to then figure out, okay, what after the book, what is the next, what is this supposed to turn into at this point?
Right. Right.
And at that point, I reached out and invested in a coach. Those of you who know Dr. Kimmy, bomb, she's the bomb. She helped me kind of, figure out this whole trying to build a business, because at the same time I'm also scared to death, because I'm like,
Right.
I'm a doctor. I don't know nothing about business. Like, what am I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just kind of just Googling this, Googling that, but not really piecing together what to do. So she actually was, able to help me through all of that. And Menopause Moguls was born.
Okay. So now tell us what are your goals with Menopause Moguls? What are you hoping to bring to the community?
Yeah. So Menopause Moguls currently is an online group coaching program, like you said in the beginning, for midlife Black women who are feeling overwhelmed and stuck with midlife challenges or menopausal symptoms, but also at the same time want to birth a business and had this dream of birthing a business. So I currently have been doing live coaching. So I envision that turning into a whole platform of just online education, for women to just go in without me live coaching, to learn information about what their bodies are doing in perimenopause, into menopause and beyond. And at the same time, also learn how to build a business and thrive at the same time, as opposed to barely surviving. So an online educational space, as well as creating opportunities for things like, things you're doing like retreat, for women who want, high achieving women who want to birth businesses, but also are feeling held back from just midlife challenges and changes. So building creating an experience for them to come again, pour into themselves, learn more about their bodies, as well as learn things about the business, like, marketing and things that they need to do in regards to planning to build a business that actually forges a legacy for them.
So tell me, how is this different from traditional business coaching? How do you integrate the menopause piece?
Yeah, it's different because for with my coaching, what I say is, when we think about, when I remember when I started, it was like, I need this whole well thought out business plan before I can even start. And when my clients come to work with me, I'm like, no, you don't need any of that. What you need is to learn about you, change the relationship that you have with yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, so that you can then do the things, take the actions you need to take in order to build the business, the
Okay.
plans and the marketing, the social media, all those things. So I first, before we even talk about the business, we actually talk about pouring into ourselves after learning about ourselves in this season of life, because we get to this
Okay.
point in our lives, we don't really know ourselves anymore, because we've been
Yeah.
so busy doing all the things, the family, the
Yep.
career, taking care of parents, maybe all the things, and we can lose ourselves.
Yes.
So I help women, I empower women to choose themselves, and change the way they actually treat themselves, because again, we are so used to putting ourselves on the back burner and
Right.
not really addressing the things that we want, the things that we need, so that we can do things like build a business, so that we can do things like write a book or whatever that big
Right.
dream
Right.
is. So really doing the self work of, self-care, self-awareness, self-discovery, and self-advocacy. Because I think, just in this season of our life, we really have to advocate for ourselves, not only in our households, but also in our careers. Like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
want to do this over here. I want to do this differently. I want to do that. So being able to, and be empowered to to advocate for ourselves for the things that we want and need in the season of our life. So I, focus on the self-work, as well as their health. Because I think a lot of us don't take into account how much our health matters. Right. Especially as we're doing things like building a business. I mean, your business is you. Like, you need to be healthy,
Right.
not just physically, but mentally, physically, emotionally, like all of that. Before you can even, get to a level that you want to get to, you really have to be intentional about making sure your health is where it needs to be for you to do those big things that you want to do.
Wow. And I are like are like soul sisters for real. Because I feel like, honestly, I feel like I just listened to, a summary of the talks that I gave at the last A Weekend for Me. Because
Okay.
that is really what it's all about, is, women being able to take time for themselves, which, like, as you mentioned, we just don't do.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to take time for themselves, to reconnect with themselves, to stop and think, okay, who am I in this season? Because,
Right.
as you said, you're running around and doing all the things and taking care of everyone else. You can get lost in that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, you get stuck doing the same things over and over and over again for years. And
Yeah.
maybe those things don't serve you anymore. Right.
Exactly.
And
Right.
maybe you've changed, but you don't even have the wherewithal, the time, the space to think about the fact that you changed.
Right.
Right. So tell
Right.
me about the transformations that you see in your clients.
Ooh, the transformations are, for, what they describe as life changing. Like, though, even before the business, they just feel a new sense of agency as they
Mhm.
enter in this new stage of life. Where, I mean, I have one client, just simple things as, she didn't wear like sleeveless shirts because she just felt insecure about it. And then after going through the motions of the program, like, she would show up in her little sleeveless shirts on Zoom, and she was like, I never could do this before. And I'm like,
Yeah.
things simple just as that is just like, wow, right? So things like that, things like change the relationship that they have, not only with themselves, but with their partners. Being able to advocate with their partner, like, okay, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I need. I need you to do this to help with the kids, or even advocate with the kids. Like, you are old enough now to fix your own cereal. Mommy's not going to do it. You're going to do it yourself. So empowering them to actually do more for themselves. So being able to change the relationship they have, not only with themselves, but with their family, has also been transformational. And then with the business, like, they came in thinking they could never do this. Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, I can never build a business because I feel like crap. I'm doing all the things and I just don't feel like I can do it. Now developing the confidence to say, like, of course I can do this. Like, why not? Like, why won't I do this? I'm being called to build this business, and then that's what I should be doing. So watching them actually build a business. One of my clients built a therapy practice, and she, within a year, like, she has made so many strides. Like, she's actually hiring her second therapist for her practice. Like, that's how well she's doing.
Hmm.
Which is, it's just mind boggling. It's
Yeah.
just like, wow, so proud of her. So, things like that is just, and overall, just watching them make the decision to choose themselves throughout all of this.
Right.
Choose themselves when, when they're not feeling, up to what they used to be in regards to the positive stuff. Like, being
Yeah.
able to, like, okay, I'm not feeling too well today. I'm going to sit with that and figure out what I want and what I need, as opposed to just pushing through and just keep doing the things.
Right.
And you know what
Right.
I'm saying? So being able to watch them be able to be okay with choosing themselves, and choose themselves without feeling guilty. because I think that's also a very big thing is, being able to prioritize you and your desires and your needs without feeling guilty about not doing it for, your family or whoever, you're taking care of. So all of those, have definitely been transformational for them. And I just feel grateful for being able to be a part of that process. Has definitely been a blessing.
Yeah, and I think I love the fact that it's a group program because, a lot of times these kind of feelings and sentiments can be isolating. You think you're the only one who's feeling this way, you're the only one going through it because you talked about almost the mask that you wore to work every day. That
Right.
everybody, you look good on the outside and everybody thought you were doing really well and they didn't understand what was going on. They couldn't understand what was going on the inside because you
Right.
didn't share that. And I would imagine that that was pretty isolating. But I think it's great that you have created a community like this where women can commune with other women who are feeling the same way, and together they can inspire each other to start their businesses or to own their power to do a different career or exert themselves in their families or on their jobs or whatever. I think it always helps to have a crew, like
Yes.
you have a crew behind you, cheering you on, and then
Exactly.
and letting you know
Exactly.
that okay, I might be crazy, but I'm not crazy by myself, right?
Not by myself. Exactly. Exactly. Yes, having that sisterhood makes it makes a difference, right? Like you said, not feeling like you're the only one out here struggling, and having that support. Like, okay, of course you can do. Okay, you're feeling like you can't do it. We know that you can do it just because of what we already know about you and what you've
Right,
already done. Now we can support you and remind you of your greatness, right? Because
right.
we get into,
Yeah,
we get that mind drama like, girl, you ain't that good. You ain't that great.
yeah, yeah.
But if you have people around you who are able to, like, of course you are. Of course you can do, this, that, this or
Right,
that.
right, right.
Because you have all that you need already, like already inside of you. But it's
Yeah.
definitely good to have that crew, that sisterhood around you to support you.
Yeah, and then also I think to see the people who are farther along on the journey than you are, because you're like, okay, I know her background. She can
Mm-hmm.
do it. I can do it. It's inspiration.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So tell us if we're interested in working with you, where can we find you? How can we do that?
Yes. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, at Dr. Joyelle, DrJoyel, and you just send me a DM. And we can, chat and see, what you have been experiencing, what you're trying to do, as far as building a business. My vision for 2024 is for the Menopause Moguls doors to be opening then. So we can definitely chat and see what's going on, and see how I can help you.
Okay, so now you don't have age requirements or like lab results that people have to join, right? They
Okay.
self-identify, right?
Right. So the age requirements is 40 and over. I mean,
Okay, all right.
I have had one of my clients who was 39. So 39 is okay too, right?
Okay, all right.
So anytime after that is fine. Like I said before, black women, no lab results. We don't check labs here. Like we don't, because we don't care. Like
Right, yeah,
we
yeah.
don't care about the lab, because honestly, I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, because what I also help my clients do is not truly just focus on the symptoms, but focus on the feelings that are underneath those symptoms. Acknowledge those and figure out how we can change our response to the symptom so that we can continue to do the things that we want to do. And thrive in this season, because we focus on just the symptom and just trying to treat the symptom and not really addressing the feelings like inadequacy or less confidence or fear, like all the things. I think that we can do ourselves a disservice. So yeah, so those are the requirements.
All right, I
And of
got it.
course, who wants to build a business, right? Like, so
Right,
basically,
sure.
want to build a business, but having again midlife changes that you're like not really feeling like, and it doesn't really have to be just a symptom themselves, but also just the because we also just can feel just different in these midlife years. We just
Yeah.
feel less confident. We just feel just kind of down about ourselves, or just feel different. And really want to navigate through that better so that we can do big things like build a business. So yeah.
Very good. So we're just about out of time. I do like to end on a variation of the same question. And so for you, what I would say is for mid-career women who are looking to up-level their journey in menopause, their menopausal journey, what is the single best piece of advice you can give?
The single best piece of advice is to choose you.
Mm,
Choose you. Um, like I said before, I think we are so conditioned, especially as Black women, to take care of everybody else, and put ourselves on the back burner. But I want to challenge you to give yourself permission to choose you first, so that you can thrive through your menopausal journey.
right, right. Because if you're choosing you, it's almost like, the cliche of what they say on the plane, put your mask on first, because you
Exactly.
can't do for other people. You can't take care of other people at the same level if you're constantly depleted. And I do think it's
Exactly.
really fascinating the fact that you said once you started taking care of yourself, a lot of your symptoms were relieved.
Mm-hmm.
We do often underestimate how powerful self care is.
Yes, most
You
definitely. Most
know,
definitely.
it
Yes.
is truly a superpower.
It is a
And yeah,
superpower.
and if we harness it and we use it the right way, we can change our lives.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I have enjoyed talking with you so much, my new soul sister. Um, and I look forward to seeing the big things that menopause moguls will do, the lives that you will change. And I'm here for it. I'm here to watch the journey.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Dr. Sharita. I appreciate you. You definitely soul searches with this self care thing
Yes,
because, like you said, superpower. I wish I can join you on the weekend retreat, but maybe the next one.
hopefully.
But thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. Take care, guys. That's it for tonight. We will see you all next week, for another episode of Level Up Live. Again, registration is open, but I really, truly am seriously closing it this weekend for a Weekend for Me, www.aweekendforme.com. Get in today. Do not miss out on this opportunity. It is going to be amazing when you see all the pictures and hear about all the transformations. You are going to have serious FOMO. So get in there. Take care. See you next week. Bye bye. Thank you again, Dr. Joyelle.
Thank you.